So I'm going to quickly walk you through how to set up a longitudinal project for MyCap. So I've got my project created here, and step one is going to be to enable longitudinal data collection. And then we're also going to enable MyCap. I'm going to close this. So once ours are enabled, step two is going to be to design your instrument. So I'm going to go to the online designer. For the sake of time, I went ahead and designed these instruments in the project. Just for the sake of this demo, this is a very simple project. I've just got my participant intake form and then 4 surveys. So once you've got your instruments designed how you want, you can also, if you choose to for your project, set up your baseline date. So for this project, I'm going to use a baseline date. I'm going to say that my participants have a discharge date that I want to use as the baseline date. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill the rest of this out. Okay, so once I have that filled out, I'm going to save it, and that's it for the designer for now. Step 4 is going to be to define your events and schedules. So now we need to go to the Define My Events tab. Okay, so here I'm going to go ahead and start setting up my events for this project. My first event that I want is just enrollment. And then my days offset is going to be 0. So days offset is going to determine the task schedule in MyCap. So I'm going to save that. I'm going to do 1 day post-discharge. And so my day offset will be 1. And then I'm going to just add more events. Okay, so I have all my events added. I have a total of 9 events, and then I have my days offset set. So then I'm going to go to designate instruments for my event, and I am going to designate those instruments for the events. So I'm going to remove these. I want participant info and enrollment. I want vitals and enrollment, and then I want the morning questionnaire to be every day post-op, as well as the evening. And then I want the weekly questionnaire to be 1 day post-op and then 8 day post-discharge, not post-op. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to save this. So then step 5 is going to be to enable our instruments for MyCap. So to do that, we have to go back to the online designer. And the only 3 instruments that I want participants to complete in MyCap are going to be this morning questionnaire, evening questionnaire, and the weekly MyCap questionnaire. So under enabled is MyCap task, I'm going to enable the task. So here I can edit anything that needs to be changed. If I want to change the task title, you can do that. The format, card display, any optional settings you want to choose, you can do all of that. And then set the task schedule relative to either the install date or the baseline date. So I want all of them to be based on the baseline date, so I'm going to choose that. And then at the bottom, we have to designate which events this task should be enabled for. So this comes from the events table that we just came from. So I'm going to enable this task for all of these events by clicking the little red X. Okay, and then I'm going to save, and we're just going to do the same thing for these other 2. Okay, so let's talk about active tasks. You can import an active task into your project. We recommend importing active tasks after you've set up your events in your project, just because if you import the active task before setting up your event, you'll be required to set a schedule, which will then be overwritten by after you've set up the event. So to avoid that, set up your events first, and then you can add an active task. We're just going to use the range of motion. And we're going to click import. And then you'll be taken to this error screen that's just directing you to designate your instrument for an event. So you can just click here and then add that active task instrument to whatever event you want. So I'm going to choose to do this day 8 post-discharge, and I'm going to save. And then we can go back to our designer and set up our active task. Okay, and then I'm going to enable it for this 8-day post-discharge here, and then save changes. Okay, and once you've got all your instruments set up, the next step is going to be to go to your app design. This is where you can design what you want your app to look like for participants. We have there's a detailed video about app design available that you can click on to get into a little more detail about these tabs, but to go over it really quickly, you have your About tab where you can add as many About pages as you would like. This one I've already edited. You can edit the title, the content, and you can also add an image to your pages. You have a Contacts tab. You can add contacts to this page. You also have a Links tab where you can link resources for participants to view within the app. And then you also have your Themes tab. So this is where you can set what colors you want to display in the app. So currently all of these themes are now available for Android and iOS. So if you want your participants to see the green theme, you can click green, or the orange, you can click orange. You can also create a custom color theme down here at the bottom. So once you have gotten all of your app design set up, your next step is going to be to head over to the MyCap participant table. And then here you can set up your custom participant label. So you can set up what you want to be displayed in this column once you have participants joining the project. So I'm going to enable this, and I want the participant's name to just display in that column. So now once I have a participant joined, their name will display here in this column. We have a separate video titled MyCap Participant Management that you can view if you're interested or need to know more information about getting your participants set up in MyCap, how to use this table, how to set up alerts and notifications to send invite information to participants. So if you're interested in that, you can check out that video. And that is how you set up your longitudinal MyCap project.